What's going on, everybody? Hope y'all having a good morning. Welcome to Black Steez. All right, now, this morning, I want to talk to y'all about some scary stuff, man. It's real scary. No other real way to put it other than, it's pretty scary. Now, I'm going to start by saying, obviously, this channel is not new. Those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, I used to make videos primarily talking about like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, things like that. And that kind of led me down a rabbit hole with this cryptocurrency called Singularity.net. Basically, it was a cryptocurrency that was made not by the people who made Sophia the robot, but by the actual robot itself. Now, sounds crazy, right? But the robot itself is a highly intelligent, highly artificially intelligent robot. It learns and it creates on its own without the interference of a human. Once whatever program or system is put in place for this robot to begin doing this thing, it just goes off and it starts learning. And you guys can YouTube Sophia the robot and see what kind of crazy nonsense that robot actually says and look into that, go down that rabbit hole. But I say that to say this. I did the video on Sophia the robot in the past. It did pretty well. It got a lot of views. There was a lot of people that were interested in it back then, and then it kind of just really died off. The point of the video was, what is the cost? What will be the influence of having these highly intelligent robots that think and do on their own to humanity and to, society as a whole? A lot of people, you may have heard the term the Internet of Things. Well, that's what all of the artificial intelligence is actually ushering in, the Internet of Things. And if you don't know what the Internet of Things is, the Internet of Things basically means that every type of device in your home and in your life that you use, from your cell phone to your watch to your refrigerator, your toaster, any type of electronic device, your refrigerator, even some devices that you probably wouldn't normally associate with having any type of electronic attributes or internet connectivity, they might actually start to roll some of these things out. And some things I could think of off the top of my head would be like shoes. You might get a pair of running shoes, and instead of having your little smartwatch, like your Fitbit, instead of you having like a Fitbit or something like that, you might have a pair of shoes that tracks like how you run and tells you all this new information about your body and your run or whatever. So that's the Internet of Things. You might even have a trash can. You might have a trash can that will let you know when it's full and let you know when to take your trash out, or it'll sense that the trash stinks, and it'll say, all right, well, it's gonna self-spray some little it might spray some air freshener into the trash can on its own. Just really all types of things like that. So basically the Internet of Things is all of these types of devices are interconnected. They have internet connection. They have artificial intelligence that actually can enable them to do and make decisions on their own without human interference. So that's kind of the gist of Internet of Things. Now, just so you have the history on Internet of Things, a little bit of AI, I wanted to talk about a few of those things, but really this video is about 5G. Now, I've been hearing about 5G for at least a couple years now, and you know, I recently watched a couple videos that were really concerning, and so I wanted to make this video and kind of put it out to the public, see what other people are thinking about it, and also, kind of give everyone um, a call to action, and from my perspective, let people know what I think are probably some of the only things that can be done about this. Now, 5G. And as I explained, 5G has to do with the Internet of Things. 5G is the newest cell phone internet connectivity system that is due to be rolled out in the next year or so. We're going to start seeing 5G. Here's the problem with 5G. There have been absolutely zero tests done to say whether or not 5G is safe for people. So the amount of knowledge that we have on 5G is very limited when it comes to the actual safety of people that are going to be in and around these 5G microwave signals. That being said, there has been testing done with the other versions of internet connectivity for cell phones, for instance, 3G and 4G. And what those tests have found, and they've been very conclusive, and there's tons of evidence to show that 3G and 4G can actually cause cancer. It causes onset of heart disease. It causes psychological or mental issues. And these are things that are known and confirmed about 3G and 4G. 5G is basically a stronger version of 4G. From what I understand, the microwaves and the signals for 5G are much shorter range, but they're way more intense. And so basically, instead of having, one cell phone tower for 100 or 200 square mile radius, you'll have 100 or 200 smaller towers in that same radius, and they'll be beaming off very intense signals. What's concerning about this is, like I said, there has been no testing done to actually say whether or not this is safe for people. The only kind of precedence we have when it comes to this type of technology would be those testing and studies that were done with 4G. Those testing and the studies that were done with 4G obviously have proven that they're not very safe. Now, with 5G, things get dicey, because with 4G and the way that cell phones work right now, if you actually wanted to reduce your actual reduce your exposure, say for instance, you saw these studies, you said, you know what, I want to reduce my exposure to all of these different types of radiation and signals, so I'm gonna reduce my cell phone usage. I'm going to not sleep with my cell phone. I'm going to not hold my cell phone in my pocket. I'm going to, if I'm on the phone, I'm going to use speakerphone so that I don't have to have the phone to my head while I'm using the phone. And these are things that you could do with 4G to kind of reduce your exposure and keep yourself away from some of those microwave and radiation type signals that will cause these problems. Now, with 5G, you're not going to be able to get away from these signals. And the reason you're not going to be able to get away from these signals is because you're going to see these 5G towers being put up in neighborhoods, and I'm assuming they're going to roll it out and start in certain neighborhoods, probably the cities. Obviously, the cities, you're going to see, the influx of this way before you see any type of rural areas. So like New York City, you know, Seattle, Denver, places like that, you're gonna see this 5G rollout. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna have these 5G towers, multiple towers on, you know, stretching blocks. You know what I mean? So you might walk 250 feet, and there might be another 5G tower right there. The point is to create a concentration of this 5G signal by having many towers, so that it can create this super strong signal that's going out to pretty much every device in the vicinity. So the point of me saying that is that you're not going to be able to get away from this 5G, and whatever health risks that are associated with 5G, you're going to take those risks, and you're not going to have a choice about it, because you're not going to be able to get away from the 5G signal. Now, that bringing us to the larger picture, even though there have been no studies to show that 5G is harmful, and you know, I could get into reasons why I think that there's no studies done to show the health and the safety effects of 5G, but that's a different video. This video, I just want to put this kind of call to action out there and say, teach you a little bit about 5G, teach you a little bit about the Internet of Things, and then give you something, you know, plant a seed that maybe you can start to do something about it. Or maybe you can't. Maybe it's completely above what the public can really do at this point, because the ball's already been rolling. There is something called the Telecommunications Act of 1996. And what this Telecommunications Act of 1996 says is that the government cannot interfere with the placement of cell phone towers by cell phone providers and cell phone companies. The government cannot interfere with the placement of these towers, no matter what, regardless, and this is important detail, regardless of the health effects of these cell phone towers. Now, it's already been proven, like I said, with 3G and 4G, it's already been proven that these signals from these towers and even the signals from your very devices cause all types of health issues. And there are people who complain, and they petition the government, and they, you know, try to do what they can to defend themselves against the influx of these towers in their communities. Because if you look at people who live around these towers, you can find cases of people with cancer, birth defects, and all kinds of, you know, bad stuff like that. But due to this Telecommunications Act of 1996, there is nothing that the government can actually do about this legally, by law. This is an act. It's written into law, so it's not. The problem is a lot of people will say that, oh, this is what the government is doing to us, and this is something that, you know, the government, it doesn't care about its people to do. To be honest, in 1996 was a completely different time when it came to cell phones, cell phone towers, the level of radiation, the level of signal that was being put out. It was, you know, over 20 years ago. So you can see how much cell phone technology and technology in general can advance in just 1 year. So now imagine 20 years down the line. So this Telecommunications Act is very outdated, and I believe that when it actually was written and passed, it just was a different time. So we weren't dealing with the same problems that we're dealing with now. So even though this act is obsolete, it still exists, and really we can't go and blame the government because they're following the law and the rules, which is they cannot interfere with how these towers are being put up. Now, that being said, the call to action from this video and what I want people to think about, and if you feel as though that you can actually do anything, or that you feel some type of responsibility to your future and the future of children, then what you would actually do is to seek out a way. Maybe you write your congressman. Maybe you gather some people to get a petition and do what you can. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give people legal advice on how to go about getting something amended, getting this act amended, getting the government to relook at this thing again. But that's essentially what needs to be done. There needs to be either redactions or amendments to this law that updates it to coincide with the current level of technology and stuff that we're seeing today. Because this Telecommunications Act of 1996 is very outdated, and that is what's actually going to allow these companies to just roll out this 5G, and regardless of how it's going to affect people in ways that we think that and we believe that it will affect people, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. So put the burden of this simply on your government. Like that's one of the things that I think people do today in society, is they think that they can get online and they can make posts and they can talk with their friends and say, oh my God, the government this and the government that. But if you don't know the actual law and you don't know the actual reasons why things are the way that they are, then it really doesn't get you anywhere to do that kind of stuff. So you have to know what the problem is before you can come up with a solution to that problem. And this is I think is going to be the roadblock and the huge problem with this 5G technology, is this Telecommunications Act. Now, that's really all I wanted to say about this, but I did want to throw out another kind of a tidbit about this. I wanted to throw out kind of like just another brain teaser when it comes to this 5G. Now, I did say that, there's no studies conducted by any universities or doctors or any type of scientific groups to show what the actual consequences to health and safety would be with 5G. That being said, insurance companies don't care. And when I say, what I mean by that is, insurance companies refuse to sell any product liability policies that cover cell phone radiation. So what that means is that when people get sick from all of these types of radiation that they're getting from 5G or from 4G or any type of cell phone radiation, you will not be covered under insurance. And that is very concerning. They make you think, to say the least. So apparently, these insurance companies, they know and believe something about this cell phone radiation, about 4G, about 5G, that they are unwilling to sell, product liability policies that will actually give people coverage in the event they did come down with any types of diseases or have any health issues attributed to, this cell phone radiation. Now, if there are no studies to show that 5G even causes any problems, then, you wouldn't be able to get coverage anyway. But let's say, as time went on and as 5G rolled out, you did start to see some studies and some cases where the radiation was causing people problems, even still, they would not be able to get any type of coverage under insurance because, as I said, the insurance companies refuse to sell these types of policies. So what is it? And this is like kind of another question that I'll pose to the public. So what is it that these insurance companies know or have an inkling of, or they believe, that would keep them from selling these types of policies? So it's just something to think about. You know, hopefully, if this is something that's concerning to people, then they'll actually go out and they'll write to their congressman and they'll try to bring attention to this. But if it plays out the way that I see it playing out, is that this thing is gonna roll out and society and people, they're gonna love it. They're gonna eat up the 5G technology. The cell phone is gonna be so fast. Their microwave and their toaster and their oven and all of their appliances and devices is the Internet of Things. They're gonna love the Internet of Things. Look at the age that we're in right now. People already love how connected we are. So if you keep people in that hyper connectivity sense and zone, then they're just probably going to stick with that at all costs. You know, people don't care about the things nowadays that really I feel like there's a small niche of people who actually care about health concerns and stuff like that. But we live in a day and age where people live fast and die young. So I don't see the majority of people, especially young people, caring about whether the risks that are involved with all of this stuff. They don't care. They want the faster internet. They want everything. They want crystal clear TV. That's what they want. So in my heart of hearts, I really don't see people really gathering up behind any cause behind this. Maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, once we actually start to see people who are actually dying because of this and people who are actually catching these cancers and having all of these types of health issues, then maybe you will see some pushback from society. But I just don't see it happening beforehand. But if you did care and you did want to know, that's basically, I've pretty much put it out there what the actual problem is and what to do with that. You know, the ball has to be in your court as an individual and as a member of society to go ahead and do the research and figure out how you can actually, make a move on trying to change this. Because right now, there's no way for even the government to step in and do anything about it. Even the government can't do it. It's the law, you know. And of course, they're going to follow the laws. They have to uphold the law. That's the government. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Make sure you get into the comment box. Tell me what you think about 5G technology and the Internet of Things, which I'm calling it the Internet of Disease. Yeah, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, and don't talk to me unless it's about topics that I covered in this video or other videos that I've posted. Peace out.